The last warning ignored. The message arrived in the middle of the Galactic Council's monthly session. It was short. Only one sentence. We will not send another warning. The words appeared on every council display in perfect, cold text. No sender ID. No signature. But everyone in that chamber knew exactly who had sent it. Earth. For a moment, silence filled the air, heavy and tense. Then, as if on cue, soft laughter spread across the room. Humans, said Chancellor Vorik of the Dren Coalition, leaning back in his chair. Always so dramatic. Others chuckled in agreement. For centuries, Earth had been known as a patient, reluctant power. They had weapons, deadly ones, but they rarely used them. Instead, humans preferred diplomacy, trade, and building alliances. Many races had mocked their restraint as weakness. But Commander Rin of the Vark Empire didn't laugh. He sat, still, eyes fixed on the glowing text. He had fought against humans once, many years ago. He had seen what their fleets could do when pushed, and even then, even at their most dangerous, they had been holding back. Perhaps, Rin spoke quietly, we should take this seriously. Seriously? Vorik barked a laugh. They send one angry message, and you want us to bow? Commander, you give them too much credit. Rin didn't reply. But deep inside, a knot of unease began to form. Far across the galaxy, in the Sol system, Earth's skies were alive with movement. Massive carriers rose from shipyards like silent giants. Warships glided out of orbital docks, their hulls dark and unmarked, no colors, no insignias, only matte black plating designed to swallow light. Inside the command chamber of the Uns Resolute, Admiral Kalen stood before a wall of star maps. Every hostile territory was marked in red. The patterns looked like spreading infections. They will not believe us, Kalen said to his officers. They will think we are bluffing. That is why we will not send another word. The crew nodded. No speeches. No negotiations. Only action. 2. Days later, in the remote Harness sector, a Dren patrol ship vanished. It didn't send a distress call. It didn't even appear on scanners after its last jump. When a search party arrived, all they found was a single fragment of metal drifting in the void. The metal was scorched with strange burns patterns that didn't match any known weapon in the galaxy. Reports flooded the Galactic Council's encrypted channels. Most dismissed them as malfunctions or pirate attacks. But Rin knew better. That night, alone in his quarters, Rin accessed a restricted archive. He typed in a passcode that hadn't been used in decades. A folder opened. Inside was a file marked Earth War Protocol. The first page was a battle image, blurry, grainy, taken during the siege of Drexus. It showed a single human dreadnought, the Phoenix's Wrath, firing a beam that split an enemy cruiser in half, like it was made of paper. But the image wasn't what made Rin's blood run cold. It was the note under it. 4 simple words. This was only practice. Back in the council chamber, debates raged on. Some called for a united defense. Others mocked the idea. Vorik stood once more, slamming a clawed fist against the table. They are a single species. We are dozens. Even if they attack, they cannot hope to match the might of the galaxy. Rin finally spoke, his voice low and steady. You have no idea what they can do. You have never seen them fight without restraint. I have. And if that day comes again, the stars themselves will burn. His warning went unheard. Far from the council's debates, the black fleets of Earth moved in silence. No transmissions. No lights. No mercy. In the darkness between stars, humanity was coming ghosts in the void. The first rumors came from the border sectors. Whispers, unconfirmed reports. The kind that most commanders ignored. Ships vanishing. Crews disappearing without a trace. Patrol beacons going dark. At first, It sounded like pirate raids. Until one fact changed everything. There were no distress calls. In the Vark Empire's frontier outpost. Commander Rin studied a holographic map littered with fading markers. Patrol route after patrol route had gone silent in the last 24 hours. The missing ships were spread across 3 different star systems. Yet the vanishings had happened almost at the same time. One of his lieutenants, a young officer, with pale green skin, shifted uneasily. "Sir, what if this is them?" Rin didn't answer right away. He knew who she meant. Humans. Meanwhile, in the cold emptiness between suns, a convoy of 6 Dren cargo haulers drifted silently. They were escorted by 2 medium-class war frigates. The crew expected a long, uneventful journey. Then, without warning, every ship's lights flickered and died. The stars outside seemed to vanish. Not because of any cosmic event, but because something vast, dark, and silent was moving across. The void blotting out their view. One crewman stared at the shadow and whispered, "That's not a ship. That's a wall." The wall shifted. Tiny specks of light appeared along its edge. No, not lights. Gun ports. 3 seconds later, every system on the Dren convoy overloaded. The escorts disintegrated before they could fire a shot. The haulers floated, untouched but powerless. When rescue teams arrived a day later, the ships were still there, drifting. Every crew member was gone. No bodies, no signs of struggle. Only the faint smell of burned ozone and a strange, black residue clinging to the walls. The Dren government called it an anomaly. The survivors of the rescue mission called it something else. Ghosts. Back at the Galactic Council, the disappearances were buried under diplomatic chatter. Alien leaders spoke of trade disputes, mining rights, and political alliances. Only a few took notice of the growing list of silent sectors. One of them was Admiral Kalen, still aboard the Resolute. He stood in front of a tactical display as more red marks enemy strongholds blinked out one by one. "Reports from the front?" His second-in-command asked. "None," Kalen replied. "That's the point." Rin, unable to ignore the signs, pulled up another restricted file. Inside was a grainy image from an old human war archive, a black battleship with no visible engines, gliding through space like a predator in deep water. The file name was simple, Phantom Class. The accompanying note read, "Designed to move faster than detection. If you see one, it has already seen you." That night, Rin received an encrypted message from an unknown source. It contained only coordinates and 4 words. "They are already here." The first flame, the first attack didn't happen on a battlefield. It happened at sunrise. On the planet Varela Prime. The twin suns rose over silver seas. Children played along the coral beaches. Merchants opened their stalls, and the capital city prepared for its annual festival. Then a third sun appeared in the sky. At first, people pointed and laughed. It was bright, golden, and growing larger by the second. The laughter stopped when the city's defense grid lit up and began firing at it. The sun split apart into hundreds of blazing fragments, each one a precision strike. The explosions weren't random. Every detonation hit military targets, weapons factories, shipyards, orbital defense stations. Entire fleets were gutted in seconds, but not a single civilian district was touched. From the high towers of the capital, stunned, leaders watched their military dissolve before their eyes. The attack lasted 4 minutes. Then, as if nothing had happened, the sky returned to blue. In the Galactic Council chamber, a live feed of the destruction played on a massive screen. "Who did this?" one counselor shouted. The answer came from Rin, his voice cold. "You already know." Across the galaxy, panic spread. Worlds near the Sol border began evacuating their capitals. Mercenary fleets refused to honor contracts against human forces. Black markets suddenly overflowed with captured human tech pieces. So advanced, most engineers didn't know which way was up. On the bridge of the UNS Phoenix's Wrath, Admiral Kalen stood over a holomap. Red enemy zones were being erased one after another. His communications officer looked up. "Message from command, sir. They say the galaxy is asking why we're doing this now." Kellen's jaw tightened. "Tell them," he said quietly. "Because we waited long enough." In the Vark Empire's military archives, Rin received another file from his unknown source. This time, it was crystal-clear footage of the Phoenix's Wrath unleashing its main weapon, a beam so bright it cut through 3 enemy battleships, lined end to dash and dot, but the real terror wasn't the weapon. It was the clock on the video feed. The attack had lasted less than 2 seconds. That night, the rumor began. A single whispered phrase that spread faster than any official report. "The first flame has been lit." Asterisk shadows over the council. The Galactic Council Chamber was a cathedral of power. Its walls curved high above the delegates, carved with the emblems of every known civilization. Usually, the room buzzed with the low roar of debate, the clatter of translation drones, and the clicking of 100 different alien languages. Today, it was silent dot in the center. A massive table shimmered with holograms of the recent attacks. Entire fleets were crossed out in crimson. Planets once marked as fortified now pulsed with the symbol for neutralized. Chancellor Vorik slammed a claw into the table. "This is an outrage. Humanity has committed acts of war against half this council. They have committed justice," a voice answered. Every head turned dot at the far end of the chamber. A tall figure stepped out of the shadows. A human, no guards, no escort. His dark uniform was unmarked, his boots silent on the polished floor. Security drones swarmed toward him, but froze in midair, their systems dead. The only sound was the faint hum of a small cube in his hand. Without a word, he placed the cube on the center table. It pulsed once, and a projection filled the chamber. 17 battlefields, 17 fleets reduced to debris. The recording was in real-time 3 hours compressed into a slow, deliberate replay. Alien commanders on the footage were shouting orders, ships scattering, shields collapsing. Human vessels moved like shadows, striking with surgical precision, no screaming civilians. No random destruction. Every target was military. When the last image faded, the human finally spoke. His voice was calm, almost tired. "Earth gave this galaxy peace for 3 centuries. We asked for nothing in return. We warned you not to provoke us." Vorik's frill flared in anger. "You think we fear you?" The human stepped closer, his eyes unreadable. "You should." He pressed the cube again. It melted into the table, leaving behind a single line of glowing coordinates. "What are those?" One counselor whispered. "Where we will be in 5 days," the human said. "You may come to negotiate, or you may come to die." He turned, walking toward the chamber. Doors. No one moved to stop him. Even the air felt heavier after he left. When the doors slid shut behind him, the room erupted into chaos. Some demanded immediate war. Others whispered of surrender. Only Rin sat silent, staring at the coordinates. He knew what awaited there. If the Council made the wrong choice, the galaxy's darkest night was about to begin. Asterisk. Fire in the core of the galactic core was supposed to be untouchable. Every approach was layered with defense stations, minefields, and gravitational traps. Hundreds of patrol fleets guarded the core's central worlds, where the wealthiest and most powerful civilizations kept their seats of power. For 10,000 years, no hostile force had ever reached Ikdat until now. The first sign came not from the outer perimeter, but from inside. A mining station orbiting the gas giant. Kelvis reported unidentified engine signatures, emerging from a gravitational anomaly. Seconds later, all transmissions stopped. By the time Core Command reacted, 9 more stations had gone dark. The strange part, no alarms were triggered. The automated defense grids didn't even fire. It was as if the intruders were invisible. In the war room of Core Command, a VARC officer shouted, "They can't be here. It's impossible. They would have to pass 5 layers of detection." "They didn't pass through," Rin said grimly. "They came from inside." Before anyone could respond, the central holomap flared to life. Black triangular shapes appeared across multiple sectors, dozens of them. They weren't broadcasting any ID. They weren't moving fast. They were already in position. On the bridge of the UNS Phoenix's Wrath, Admiral Kalen watched the Corps' defense fleets scramble. A human flagship didn't fire immediately. Instead, Kalen gave a quiet order: activate gravity lenses. In space, beams of pale light stabbed out from human ships. They didn't explode on impact. They bent reality itself. Enemy vessels twisted mid-flight, their hulls groaning before snapping apart as invisible forces tore them in half. Defense stations collapsed inward like tin cans crushed by an unseen hand. Every ship hit by a lance burned, not with fire, but with a strange blue plasma that consumed metal in seconds. In the core central city, the skyline lit up as orbital debris rained down. Civilians screamed in the streets. Panic tore through the population. From the council spire, Vorik watched the destruction unfold, his earlier arrogance gone. "They're not here to conquer," he whispered. "They're here to erase us." On the flagship, Kellen's second-in-command hesitated. "Sir, we've broken every line of defense." "Orders?" Kellen's eyes never left the burning core. "Hold position. Send the message." Across every core world, every com channel lit up with the same broadcast symbol. Calm, unmistakable. "This is the price of your arrogance. We have not yet taken everything. Choose peace now, or face the fire." Asterisk, the reckoning, the fires. In the core still burned when the surrender offers began to pour in. World after world sent encrypted transmissions to Sol, promising to dismantle their war fleets, abandon slave markets, and end hostile expansions. Entire empires that once mocked humanity now begged for their protection, but Admiral Kalen didn't answer them all. Only the ones worth saving. In the liberated zones, human fleets moved with terrifying efficiency. On Zara's 4, warlord citadels fell in a single night. Human dropships descended in silence, disabling planetary defenses before the enemy even realized they were under attack. When the sun rose, the warlords' banners were gone, replaced by nothing Earth claimed no territory. Kethra Prime, the humans dismantled an orbital prison station piece by piece, releasing thousands of alien captives. Many were so used to chains, they didn't believe they were free until human medics treated their wounds. The galaxy sphere began to turn into something else. Not love, not trust, but respect. Rin saw it happening in every report. Alien civilians started hanging human flags in the streets, not as symbols of conquest, but as warnings to local tyrants. The message was clear: hurt us and Earth will come. Yet beneath the growing calm, something dark stirred. In the far reaches of the Ablavara Dominion, a warlord named Kather refused to bend. His broadcasts were filled with rage, promising to burn the Sol system to its core. Intelligence reports said he had gathered the last free fleet large enough to challenge humanity, over 1,000 ships, armed with weapons banned by galactic law. And worst of all, his fleet was moving. On the Phoenix's Wrath, Kalen listened to the intercepted transmission. The warlord's voice dripped with hatred. "You think you can make the galaxy kneel? Come and try. We will meet you in the heart of the void." Kellen's reply was sent only once, to a single channel, and in the same cold tone: Earth had used from the beginning, then the void will be your grave. The countdown to the final. Battle had begun. Asterisk. The stars will burn. The Oblivara void was a dead stretch of space lightless, airless, and silent. No one lived there. No one traveled there. That was why Cather chose it for the final stand. When the Phoenix's wrath arrived, the void wasn't empty anymore. It was filled with ships. 1,000 hulls glimmered in the darkness, their weapons glowing like the eyes of predators. Warlord Cather's flagship sat at the center, a fortress bristling with cannons the size of city blocks. His voice boomed over open comms. "Human, you've burned the stars long enough. Tonight, the galaxy takes them back." Admiral Kalen didn't reply. He simply raised a hand. The first wave of Oblivara ships charged, energy lances flashing across the void. But when the beams reached the human line, they bent sliding away like water over glass. A moment later, the Phoenix's wrath returned fire, not with a beam, not with missiles. With light, columns of golden fire erupted from hidden human vessels. Scattered through the void, they weren't shooting at ships, they were shooting at space itself. The battlefield twisted. Stars far in the distance warped and stretched as gravitational folds swallowed enemy cruisers whole. Entire squadrons vanished into silent nothingness, their engines cut from reality. Those that survived faced the second. Strike plasma so bright it turned black holes white-hot before they even broke apart. Cather's fortress fought until its shields cracked like shattered glass. In the command chamber, his crew screamed for retreat. He refused. Then a shadow fell over his viewport. The Phoenix's wrath was right there, close enough to see the scars on its armor from battles past. Kellen's voice came through the comms at last, calm and final. "This is not conquest. This is closure." The human flagship fired once. Cather's ship split apart in utter silence, fragments scattering like ash in the void. When the last enemy vessel was gone, Kalen gave the final order. Extinguish the flames. Leave the ashes. The war was over. From the ruins of the core to the farthest border colonies, alien worlds looked to the stars and saw them differently. The stars still burned, but now they burned under Earth's watchful gaze. Humanity did not stay. They did not occupy. They returned to Sol, leaving behind only one promise, etched into every galactic archive. We held back once, never again.